What are your thoughts on one organization having multiple Facebook pages? Okay. The answer really lies in this, Hannah. How much of a community has developed around those specific events, right? Like you said, there's a specialized bike ride. There's one specific Facebook page devoted to that bike ride. And if you feel like you have the bandwidth to kind of connect with people and keep in touch with them throughout the year, and if you think that that's, highly likely that that community will actually do that, then do it. It's not how you think about your organization and how you should organize yourself on Facebook. It's really, how does your community think about you? Do they really think about this bike ride as like a whole separate thing, and your organization, Movable Feast, is kind of in the background? To them, it's the bike ride. Got to do the bike ride. The other thing you could do, if that is the case where you have two communities that are kind of like pretty lively on both Facebook pages, you could simply share the best stuff on your main page, the Movable Feast page, right? That way your job on Movable Feast really it's not that hard. It's kind of like you're getting content from these other two pages that you can just repost on your Facebook page. Kimberly is asking, how can nonprofits use apps? Apps are meant to enhance the experience of Facebook users. So like Action Sprout. Action Sprout is a perfect example of an app that we already talked about. If you want to do a photo contest, there are apps for that. I always recommend ShortStack. If you are doing some type of fundraiser and you want to keep the whole transaction inside Facebook, there's a company called Fundraiser. Actually, the name of the app is Fundraiser, Fundrazr. And so, there's a lot that you can do with apps. But really, what you want to think about is, what's something really unique and compelling that we can get our Facebook community involved in. Let's go beyond the like, comment, and share, right? The standard like, comment, share. Photo contest, sign a petition, make a pledge. Okay, Kimberly's saying, what can you post on Facebook if you don't post links? Well, you can upload a photo, just like you would yourself as a Facebook person. You can upload a photo on Facebook. You can upload a video as well. Or you could simply just type in a text update, like the few examples that I've shared earlier. So links are kind of the last piece of content in terms of performance. It really kind of ranks at the bottom, typically. Mirjam is saying, how do you organize apps on your fan page? To the right of the app, what's called the icon or the view tab, that little tiny rectangle, there's like a down arrow next to all of those boxes or tabs or icons or whatever you want to call them, and it will expand and it will put them all in edit mode. Once they're in edit mode, if you mouse over them, a pencil will appear, and then you can kind of move them, replace with and kind of move them around on your page. It's pretty easy. What apps for building an email list? So apps don't really build email lists, strategies do. Okay, the strategy builds the email list. Then once you have the strategy, then the app will come after that. And I'll give you a very quick example. If you have an ebook and you say, hey, we have this cool ebook, you can download it, it's super useful. Let's just assume that it is super useful and a really incredible ebook with amazing information in it. Let's just assume that. Then you can say, hey, download this thing, just put your name and email here. If that's the case, you could simply use static HTML iframe tabs. Okay, so if you go to Facebook and you search, you literally just type in static, static on your clothes, HTML, space, iframe, new word, tabs, right? It says 10 million monthly users. That's the app you want to use. It's fairly simple to use. You don't necessarily need to know a lot of HTML, but it does help. If you are doing a photo contest for email acquisition or something like we talked about with Action Sprout, just Action Sprout, and also ShortStack I mentioned earlier for the photo contest. All of these give you ways to integrate your email to acquire emails on the back end. So they're pretty straightforward. Now, Mark is asking another question. Great. Thank you, Mark. Speaking of posting audio from conference calls to social media, is it best to use YouTube because people know it, or are there other tools which integrate with Facebook that we should consider? Well, it depends upon how deep you want to go into that. For example, the Symphony, right? the symphony organization has got to have snippets of recordings or something like that, or quick little audio interviews, or quick, how to tune a violin on audio. That could be on video too. But, quick little useful pieces of information. Leslie's asking, I would like to recommend your monthly coaching clinics to a friend. How do I do this? All you have to do is say, look, go to johnhayden.com and click join now. Right? They go to my subscribe page and it spells out the whole thing. It says, look, you get free access to a webinar. It's like a Facebook webinar new subscribers get, and then monthly coaching calls. Sign up, show up, and then you're good to go. And by the way, I'm going to change a little bit about how I've done the coaching. I'm learning a few things as I go. And it's this. I feel like it might be better to give you guys a heads up on the coaching. So I might send out an email this Friday saying, hey, mark your calendar for this date in September. That way you have 3 or 4 weeks to really think about the questions that you want to ask. And then you can delete some of the question. I don't like that question. I'm going to use this one or whatever. You can pick and choose, or at least have time to prepare. Then when I send out the link to register, then you actually have some questions to ask, because it's a meeting in your calendar with a whole bunch of notes in it. Okay, so I think I'm going to take that approach from this point. Let's see, Action Sprout. Let's see, after you post it on Facebook, can you go back and edit later? Okay, the only thing you can edit on Facebook, again, you can go back later, is you can edit the description in a photo or a video, and that's pretty much it. You really can't edit anything else. If you post a text update, you can't edit it. Link, can't edit it. But photos and videos, you can go back and edit the description. Okay. If you've scheduled a post on Facebook, where can you find it to edit it if necessary? Beautiful question. When you schedule a post on Facebook and you pick the time, you're going to pick the year, the month, the date, the hour, the minute. When you do that and you click schedule, a window pops open and it says view activity log. So your page has an activity log. It's under edit settings. So if you go to your admin panel and you click on edit settings, you're going to see your activity log. And that's where it'll be. And then when you go to your activity log, you'll mostly see posts that you've already published. But at the very top, it will say scheduled posts that are going out. You can't really edit too much there, to be honest with you. You can either change the time, you can either publish now or just observe the fact that it's scheduled and that's it. But as of now, you can't really edit a scheduled post. It's just basically queued up and ready to go. And then, great question. Okay, so Kimberly's asking, my nonprofit has to do with low-income people, very hard to come by photos and videos. People want to stay anonymous. What can I do from posts? I would look into, and I know you've already looked into this, Kimberly, but look into an organization called Invisible People. And tell me very quickly if you already know it, who this organization is, and then I just will stop talking because I don't want to bore you to tears. But look up Invisible People and a guy named Mark Horvath and his whole organization, which is pretty amazing. It is built on the idea of homeless people really sharing their lives. You want to share in your situation. I've worked with a couple of Habitat for Humanity organizations. It's really good to tell the stories that are hopeful. This is, for example, with Habitat for Humanity, one benefit they have is they have this archetypal idea of home. What does home mean to you? So they could really focus on people's stories, children who grew up in a home, and where are they at right now? How did that one interaction with that organization, they were able to get a home. How did that affect the rest of their life, and what does that mean? Find out if there are some people within that community that would be willing to share their story. Start there. Find if there is someone, because there might be some people that really want to change the tone and have that courage to come forward and talk about something that is difficult to talk about, like you're searching for gold. The gold does exist in your community. You just have to look for it. It's a lot of hard work, but it's really worth it in the end, I'm telling you. Anne is asked, thanks very much for this very useful clinic. Thank you, Anne. And it is now 1 of 3. I have no more questions here, so that's great. I will call it a day then. And if you guys enjoyed this, or if you have any feedback at all, or even any remaining questions, please please go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/inboundzombie. Post it there. If you want to promote me, I'm all for it. So thank you so much, everybody. And I think that was the last question. Beautiful. Thank you, Trisha, Mirjam, Kimberly, Mark, Ann, everyone for such awesome questions. And, I really do mean it when I say that I deeply appreciate the time that I take up in your lives opening my email. Like, you get my email, you subscribe, hopefully it's useful. I get a lot of emails back to that effect, that it is useful. And this is just another way that I'm trying to be useful. So we will talk very, very soon, and have a great week. Enjoy the rest of the summer.